Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel DC Daily, where I upload daily videos on, well, just about anything and everything in life: corporate culture, mental health, spirituality, little hacks that we adults require from time to time to navigate the vicissitudes of our lives. But today I'm going to be talking about death, something that we generally don't talk about. However, before beginning, if you happen to like the kind of content that I'm uploading on my channel, please do consider liking, subscribing to the channel, and also share the videos which you like with your friends. Let me know what you feel because that really helps because I'm just starting out. So, that being said, let me dive straight into the topic, which is death. We don't really talk about death so often, right? I mean, have you ever come across a social gathering where people are engaged actively in discussing death? Not just death, but the emotions associated with it, the psychological reactions that happen within ourselves when it comes to this topic, the topic of death. We just don't talk about death more often. We should, shouldn't we? After all, this is that only one certainty in life. Death is the only, actually, it's the greatest common denominator that binds all of humanity, all of creation. Everything has to die. We all must die. Memento mori, right? So, in this respect, I was just reading up some quotes from Stoic philosophers, and these few kind of caught my attention. So, I'll just read out a few quotes. The first one is by Marcus Aurelius, and he says, "Brief is a man's life, and small the nook of the earth where he lives. Brief, too, is the longest posthumous fame, void only by a succession of poor human beings, who will very soon die, and who know very little of themselves, much less of someone who died long ago." Following up, I would like to read out this quote from Epictetus, and he says, and I'll arrive to the crux of the topic today with this quote. He says, "I cannot escape death, but at least I can escape the fear of it." So, when it comes to death, what is our most common reaction? Apart from, ooh, we shouldn't talk about death, it's like too morbid a discussion to have in a social gathering. It's fear. We fear death. Actually, we don't fear death. We fear the loss, whether it is that of a loved one or whether, when it comes to our own death, when we are thinking of the time when we will pass, a fear of losing all our earthly attachments, the life that we've built, the loss of that is what, produces the fear in us. We also kind of evade the subject in a social discussion because it's considered to be a very negative topic. So you see, death as a topic is still taboo, despite in the olden days, our philosophers and our scriptures, they did talk about death. In fact, I would like to read out this quote from the Bhagavad Gita, and I'm going to try to do the correct pronunciations. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. Where Sri Krishna describes death as thus, and I'll tell you the meaning of it also. So it goes like this: Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani ghrnyati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirna nyanyani samyati navani dehi. It means, to put it in a nutshell, it means, consider death as just like a change of clothes. Just like you change your old garments and you put on a new one, so is death. This body is compared to a garment which you change, and your soul moves into another body. But again, that's topic for another discussion, which I'll come to. So while the Stoics expounded on the prospect of death in this life, the Bhagavad Gita talks about the moment of death as being just like a change of clothes, like I explained. And yet we fear death. But like I said, we don't really fear death, but we fear the loss of a loved one, or the loss of everything that we work towards or built in while we have been living. So, actually, death makes us realize that it's this little life we have that matters, and we must make it worth it in this life itself. I'll now dive a bit into my personal tryst with death, let's just say. So, in the last 2 years, I have lost 5 family members to death for various reasons. It started with my pet dog, Romeo. He was 17 years old actually. He was going to turn 17. And we had to put him down because he was suffering terribly. 17 is like a very, very ripe old age for dogs and cats. So we had to put him down, and that was excruciating. And then it was followed by an older cousin in my extended family, and he died miserably with no one by his side. He was just found dead in his room. After that, it was followed by a friend my age, whom we had spoken to just 2 days before. Like, we had spoken to her on a Friday, and on Sunday we got to know that she's no more. The next one was my paternal grandmother. I couldn't be with her because she lives in a different city. She lives in Varanasi, but of course, old age. The next death was actually the most shocking in my family. It was that of my maternal aunt's husband, so my uncle. I was there. I tried CPR, but his heart didn't start beating again. And well, I knew it was not going to help, but still I tried. And last, but not the least, was my maternal grandmother, just some few months back. So I made too many trips to the crematorium here in Calcutta, saw too many deaths in a very short span of time, and by now I was completely numb. Like, I didn't even cry. What's the point in crying? I realized. But well, even if I wanted to. And it made me wonder that, my time will also come. How should I prepare for that? Did these guys prepare for it? Did they know? Forget about Romeo, my pet dog. Because what a lovely creature. What a lovely being. What joy he had given us. So forget about that. But the humans, did they prepare for death? No. I think there should be something called death counseling. Because from the moment we are born, it's like we are slowly moving towards that eventuality, right? So the moment, of course, the moment we are born, we are not really aware that way. We are not consciously aware that way. But the moment we develop our conscious awareness, I think from that moment onwards, we should start preparing for death. And by the way, preparing for death doesn't mean like you prepare your pyre and you start writing your will and everything. Preparing is mentally preparing, psychologically preparing, not just for your death. Because, even your parents will have to go, right? Your parents, your partner, your close friends, everything and everyone you've held dear to yourself will have to go. Memento mori, we all must die, right? So there's no point in evading this. In fact, there's all the more reason that we must prepare for it. We must counsel ourselves for this eventuality, this inevitability. So how should we prepare? Actually, this should drill some common sense in our lives. When we crib and complain about petty things and things that are not really in our control, even death isn't in our control. But we know that we have to die, right? And it gives me some satisfaction to know that this little life must therefore be lived to the fullest. So how? Very simple, actually. Hurt no one. Don't hurt anyone intentionally. Like, what's the point? Physically, spiritually, psychologically, don't hurt anyone. We may often be compelled to, it could be like an act of revenge or anything, but just forget it. Why? What's the point? What will happen? We must also remember to face our own darkness, face our own demons, resolve our internal issues within ourselves. Because it's not like you when you die then you'll be again reborn and you'll get a chance to resolve your issues in this life, in the next life. Like, why leave it to chance? Because you don't even know whether you will come back or whether you will come back as this same person. But one thing's for sure, you're not going to remember anything, any of the lessons that you've learned in this life. So it's better to resolve all your issues in this life, in this very life itself, and just, draw a line after that. So, in fact, I feel the discussion of death should not be morbid at all. In fact, it should be celebrated. It should give us all the more reason to celebrate our little lives, the time that we have with us. So, yeah, I just thought I'll make this video on death, and I hope I am able to, like I said, drill some sense into people who always crib and complain about things that are not in their control, not in anybody's control. So stop doing that. Find out what you love doing. Find out what plagues you internally. What are your internal shortcomings and weaknesses? Work on them, because this is the life you have. In fact, the purpose of your life ideally should be to resolve your internal issues, so that at the time of death, you know that you have lived a good, satisfying life. And if you pass on with that feeling of satisfaction, I'm sure, I don't know what happens after death, I'm not even going into that, but I am sure that maybe you will not be reborn in this life, or maybe you will not be reborn at all. So I'll keep that as a topic for discussion for my next video. I hope I have been able to lift that element of darkness from this really quote-unquote dark topic called death. Dark and morbid. We don't talk about it. We don't discuss death. We should discuss death more often. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Let me know what you feel. Let me know how you have dealt or would deal with loss to death. Let me know what your thoughts are on death. And that's it. If you like this video, please do give me a like. Please do share it among your friends. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who will resonate with me, who will resonate with what I'm saying right now. So please do consider subscribing to my channel, because I'm just starting out. Every bit of exposure will help me, get the watch hours going. And well, yeah, live your life to the fullest. Don't hurt anyone intentionally. Face your inner demons and just enjoy, like fully enjoy this life, so that at the moment when you're passing over, you have no regrets at all. Yeah, so that's it. I will see all of you in my next video. So till then, bye bye.